Take me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls. Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your curators. I'm Ella.
And I'm Charlie.
Welcome, Charlie. It's good to have you back on the podcast, just like every other episode
I
prior
was about
to this
to say,
one.
I was here last week, you remember?
And the one before that, and the one before that,
I was
etc.
actually, I think this is my 42nd time on this podcast, not counting bonus episodes.
That's so weird because it's mine too.
What?
What is happening here?
Now, here's an interesting question. How many of these have I edited?
I would say a good, let's boil it down to a percentage at this point. 80%, 85%, probably.
Now, what happened there?
Well, you see, you got this thing called a full-time job, and to my understanding what that means is, most of the time, as in, like, all of time...
Full? Like a full amount of time?
You are, doing job. Which...
That's a bad deal. Why did I agree to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm...
Oh, because they told me that if I get hit by a car and I don't do that full of the time, then they just don't bring me to the hospital. So that sounds like blackmail, actually, in retrospect.
Yeah. So anyway, because you were being blackmailed, we got, I took over some editing duties, some other people.
Yeah, you did 20%, huh?
It's a good 20%. I'm proud of
you
that
did. So
20%.
I did 80, you did 20. So here we have both editors of this podcast, right?
That's right. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, for some of that, we did seek out and hire a brand new editor.
Gross.
And her name is Liz, and she's fantastic. No, she's fantastic. Actually,
I liked how I edited it. By the way, Liz, this is a joke. Welcome.
I figured it was a joke. You're doing a good goof. I'm
not insulting your editing. I adore your editing.
Oh, I'm real glad to hear that.
Well, I said I adored it first.
Yeah, Ella found you, and that
I did. I was looking around on Twitter for editors that seem to fit our vibe, and you seem to fit it spectacularly.
Ella's the first person to discover the lovely Liz.
I don't know if I'm first.
The first person to discover.
Yeah.
I'm the first white girl to visit the Bahamas, but I wouldn't call myself...
That is a reference to pre-episode banter where we reframed Christopher Columbus as the first white guy to visit the Bahamas, which is true.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't getting that joke. Sorry.
But yeah, so Liz, you have edited the first one you edited was Northwest Mansion Mystery, and then you edited The Tale of Two Stands.
My question is, are those the first two podcasts you've ever edited in your entire life? Or is there a history
another
here?
podcast.
Well,
that's going to make the interview segment brisk. That just gets... Okay, so the Last Mabelcorn, wait, sorry, what'd you say?
No, I have in fact.
Okay.
It'd be wild if y'all had hired me.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
No experience.
I mean, that's what they call a prodigy.
Just
based on vibes alone, you were a good fit. The fact that you were a good podcast editor was just a nice little cherry on top.
Listen, Ella selling me on hiring someone. When you told me those rates were for someone who had never attempted to edit but had a good spunk to them, at first I was like, I am not paying for this, but you're a persuasive girl.
well, thank you. But no, you did. You have edited before. Yes, that was part of a bit.
Please tell us.
We were not kidding about your vibes fitting perfectly. I mean, I was sending Charlie tweets about you watching Gravity Falls, you loving Gravity Falls.
I mean, you're a fantasy nerd like me. Everyone knows me as a pirate. Everyone knows you as a fairy. We are about together 2/5 of the cast of Peter Pan.
There we go. As we speak, I am ramping up for my LARP game this coming weekend, where the town is going to be under siege by a bunch of demons. So that's what.
Well, that's my favorite sequence of words. But seriously,
that doesn't tie into today's topic at all. Being besieged by demons.
I know you're a good guest for this one, but tell us about your career. What other editing have you done, please?
Oh boy,
sure, that's your job. But what about your career?
Your career. I think, as with most people who end up podcasting, it starts out, maybe not most people anymore, but for a long time, if you start out in podcasting, it was like a hobby that then took on a life of its own, which is what happened to me.
What the internet was briefly before capitalism got this late stage.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But yeah, I co-hosted and did the bulk of the editing for the podcast Your Fave is Problematic, which was, there's like 100 episodes of it. People can go listen to it. I think it's still pretty good. We talk about our problematic faves, and it's most of the time there are faves too. So there's some nuance there, but also we drag
our
some
fave
people.
is Gravity Falls, and they've had no mediocre episodes yet, so I think we're totally good to go into this episode.
Wouldn't it be amazing if this meticulously written show, this late into the game, had just aired a first draft on television?
That'd be wild.
Nah, couldn't happen. Anyhow, continue with your path here. You did that podcast for a while.
Did that for a while. Did a few. I had a dumb joke cast. I had a dumb joke podcast for a while called FMK All Day, where we played No Holds Barred.
Yeah!
Marry Kill. I'll remember to beep that one out because I always forget.
Although you have been terrible at recognizing when it has happened while editing.
No, I look, my brain doesn't process swears anymore, so it's really hard when I'm having to to censor. But yeah, so we did that for a while. And what ended up sort of happening was I started grad school last fall, and
look at my fancy debt and homework.
Fancy. Well, not fancy, just more debt basically, and lots of homework.
It's very interesting how our need for money keeps influencing our career decisions in ways beyond our control. That's probably not related to anything else going on in the world, though.
I don't
probably
think these
just
are
the two of us, just
social
a fun
factors whatsoever. The system is great because we got the bad guy out, remember?
Yeah, listen, it's individuals have always been the problem. There have never been...
We got the CEO of badness out, so we're fine.
Now we're in good country USA, baby!
Baby!
I love nothing more than working full-time and going to school full-time. It's a great system that really allows for a work-life balance.
Can we just say, when I used to sleep, that sucked, right? Like, what was that about? Why did we do that?
All right. The sarcasm in here is getting so thick, I need an aqua lung to breathe. Let's move on.
But yeah, the long and the short of it is I started grad school, and I had considered trying to basically monetize my editing skills because it's a skill set I can use. I have a theater background. Did
you ever make that work out for you?
Yeah, I have a few. I'm working on some shows now. One you probably haven't heard of it. It's called Mystery Shack Look Back.
Whoa, that sounds
I just
boring.
realized that I said all this stuff about the state of the economy in this episode, and you edited
Northwest Mansion Mystery and A Tale of Two Stands, which also feature that same kind of stuff.
So what vibes do you get from Ella and I?
I don't know. Y'all seem pretty chill. I like it. It's good.
Good, because those are the exact vibes we got from you.
We're ready to start a riot at the drop of a hat, and she's like,
"Oh no, I mean, I was on board with all that."
Yeah, no, they seem like cool people.
I'm too chill even for that. That's too much work.
Oh no, I'm down.
I was on board. I was just like, please eat the rich.
I have a pitchfork right here. I want to do a classical Frankenstein style riot.
It's 2022.
Okay.
I don't trust you if you don't have a pitchfork at like arm's length at any given time.
Yeah.
So
we're bringing them back. It's picket signs are out. Pitchforks. I'm bringing a pitchfork and a torch to Pride this year. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, that's actually a great idea.
Me and all my friends. Oh my God, I'm going with a group to New York Pride. I'm making this happen.
Yeah, we just got to find a windmill.
Yeah. There it is.
Sorry. Go on.
So you also you do LARPing, like you said.
Yes, I do. It is. I do a lot of like tabletop RPG LARP related things. So.
Last week, we talked about an episode about Dungeons & Dragons, and we somehow managed to talk for 2 hours and 7 seconds without any person there having any insight on Dungeons & Dragons. But I'm glad we picked the best possible episode for you.
Yeah.
This one has some connection.
Well, you messaged me too about the episode where they have the little like bit with like Seuss LARPing.
The
You're like,
F-LARP,
any insight to LARPing? I was like...
It was too late. I could not work it in. It was too late in the game. It was
It's
literally
okay.
right before we were
Yeah, I
about to
messaged you
record.
while we were recording, realizing that none of us knew anything about
Yeah,
LARPing.
I was like, well, what do y'all want to know?
I played one 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign and worked at a Renaissance fair. If I just pretend those were the same day, I LARPed.
Sorta.
Yeah, all right.
Close enough. You're like 70% of the way there.
I'm a 70% LARPer. I don't know what to tell you.
Kind of a lar.
Not a
Yeah,
purr
you got-
yet. I haven't purred.
Yeah, you gotta get the P in there, the play. Gotta get the play in there.
Yeah. You're forgetting to have
Listen,
fun.
Yeah.
all of my action has been live though, and I think that's half of it.
Exactly. That's a big part of it. It's true.
This is actually live right now.
Whoa.
Yes, it is live right now, person listening.
That's how
It's
podcasts
Mystery
work.
You should
Shack
clean your
Look
glasses,
Back
your glasses.
Live with special guest, the loveliest Liz, musical guest Ella Cesare, and your host Charlie Marlowe.
I got more like the house band and also a host, right?
No,
it's not
no, you're the
guest.
musical guest. You're getting demoted, Ella. Sorry, Liz.
Wow.
Go on.
Wow.
I feel like guests get paid more though, because they only have to show up once.
You said you've LARPed.
Yeah, I do that. Boy, I mean, what else? If people are interested in that vein of things, I was in I don't know what to call it, a Zoom LARP over the pandemic called Boardroom Armageddon. That was it. It was a one-shot thing that got wildly out of hand. I was in Boardroom Angels, and it was essentially a bunch of angels. But what if heaven was a boardroom? Then Armageddon was happening, and there were
Good
a lot of
omens. What's your number?
a little bit. We had boardroom demons, and then we had a purgatory cafe where the angels and demons would kind of get together, and it was a really lovely storytelling experience. Actually,
That
I really
sounds
enjoy
nice.
I really enjoy storytelling with people, which is why
And
I like,
lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You sound like your work sounds lovely, Liz. It sounds like the
you know,
loveliest.
I
Actually,
try. I'll just put this here. And I'll get to it. If people want to hear more stuff I do, you can go to my website. It's elizabethnordenholt.com. And if you want to know more about my editing stuff, you can go to podcataudio.com because I'm the podcat. I got little cat ears on my editing headphones and everything.
Aww.
And if there are any plugs that you forgot to do, you're editing this one, so put them in whenever. You can.
Fine.
You can add them in every other line.
There
Ella,
it is, yeah.
Ella kept an hour of Weird Al discussion in before we talked about Gravity
I'm
Falls.
damn proud of it.
The episode's just going to be my reel, actually.
Oh yeah,
That's all.
You
good idea.
You can put your real, like, legit,
Just
if you
in
wanted
here.
to, but like at the end, after the Patreon shoutouts.
No, that's silly. People can go to my website.
Which is what? Sorry?
Podcataudio.com or elizabethnordenholt.com.
Oh, one more time?
One more time?
Yeah, I just want to make sure they retain it, because some of these people might be
yeah.
driving, might not be able in a position to go to a website
well,
until later.
I wish them luck spelling my long German last name, but it's elizabethnordenholt.com.
Do you do a German accent?
I do not know.
Okay, may I?
You may, yes.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. So it was elizabethnordenholt.com.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to scream your last name in a German accent if that's not
I love
too
that.
if
I
that's
love
not
that
too
for you.
xenophobic.
No, it's fine. Whatever.
All right.
I think it's
So
just
that's-
xenophobic enough.
Just
Yeah, it's
it's the good kind, because they're Germany. They had it coming.
It's funny.
So
Exactly.
that would be elizabethnordenholt.com.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I have some-
podcataudio.com. That's right.
Meow.
Liz, I have some exciting news that didn't clip.
Oh boy, I love that.
Yeah.
We're
we
good
love
at
to
that.
see it. We love to see it.
And speaking of exciting news, we have fan mail.
We just got a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from.
wonder who it's
Oh,
from.
I
We're
do
doing
wonder
the
who
whole
it is
song.
from. Oh wait, it says right at the top, Jules. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fan mail from our listener Jewel. Hello, Charlie.
And Ella, I just wanted to say that I really love listening to your podcast. I'm a huge Gravity Falls fan, but I only got into the show in 2017 after it already ended. So even though I love this show so much, I've always felt like I missed out on being a part of the fandom when it was still airing. Ever since I've gotten into Gravity Falls, I've always liked going back and finding old fan theories. So For me, your podcast makes me feel like a real part of the fandom. Thank you for everything you do, Jules.
Aw. Thank you, Jules. That was really sweet of you to say. Appreciate that.
For a second,
And
I thought that was going to end with makes me feel like a real person. I'm like, wow, y'all are really giving life out here with this podcast. Like, wow.
Live, damn you! We've created life!
Well, I will say
Don't
that,
you understand? We're gods! No, but, like, yeah, that was an email sent to us at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com if you want to share your fandom experiences, or now it's just kind of turning into experiences with this podcast.
Please tell us you love us.
Please send us your
listen, it's not
praises.
weird to ask for because other people did it first without us asking.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because we are getting toward the end of Gravity Falls itself,
And
covering
this podcast, honestly, I don't know how.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It makes sense that the emails have shifted into more of a.
I'm
thanks for the
going to
podcast.
miss you, but my aim is getting better.
Aww. Well, see, now someone's just gonna send us that, which they should.
Liz, before we get into the episode proper, I want to tell you about a project Ella and I used to do.
Please.
Every week before the airing of a Gravity Falls episode, starting with the previous episode, Dungeons, and More Dungeons, in one take, I improvised the synopsis or commercial into a 3-act structure in one take, and Ella lazily animated it.
Spectacular. Where can I find this art?
Well, I'm going to send you the
Right.
clip to edit it in later.
Oh.
But
Amazing.
the problem was this week, the synopsis sucked and there was no trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything informing me what
I
to
didn't
improvise.
remember there not being a trailer.
There might have been a trailer, but I don't remember
It
exactly.
might have been.
It was not useful to me. First, I don't remember why. I just know it wasn't. All I had was the episode synopsis when you click info on cable, when you scroll to the air date and click info on the episode on like DirecTV or Optimum or whatever.
Oh, those are an adventure every time.
So what
too.
it said was, Bill Cipher reveals a twist about his enigmatic self.
Yeah,
No,
that
it
sounds
was
about right.
Dipper learns some. That was your twist on the line. It was more like
No. That was
Dipper-
his enigmatic self. I know is the exact wording, and that's
Are you
why I said
sure?
it in the video. Yes, I can't find
Oh,
it from
wow.
Googling, but I know I was looking at the synopsis when I recorded, so I could get that wording exact.
That's very silly.
So
I didn't realize it was that silly in the original.
it's stupid. So I did a video that I knew that Mabel was going to look for a unicorn, and I knew that Bill Cipher was going to reveal a big twist about his enigmatic self. And Liz, that is all. So,
Hello, Dipper Pines. Bet you didn't expect to see us again. It's me, Gideon, and that's Bill.
That's true, I'm Bill. And I have a very unexpected twist to reveal about my enigmatic self. This whole time, I've had a twin brother, and his name is Tad Strange.
no, we already met Tad last week. He's a normal guy in town.
Oh, shoot, really? His name is the pentagram that's on top of Gideon's tent.
That's really not that shocking, Bill.
Oh, come on, do I? Just because Ford has a secret twin, I'm not allowed to have a secret twin? Long lost twin, that's a term that's existed long before either of them has.
No, it's not shocking, because I, too, have a twin brother.
What?
That's right. This whole time, Ghost Eyes, was actually
Gideon's twin brother, Jubilant Gleeful.
Okay, really?
But did you know that I also have a twin brother?
Yes, literally everyone knew that, Mabel.
I just wanted to be a part of things.
Get out of here, Shooting Star. Go find a unicorn or something.
Okay. Oh, was that Mabel? Oh, hi, Mabel. Good luck.
Amazing. I love this concept that everyone in Gravity Falls has a twin. That is like the least.
I mean, that was unironically how some people thought. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not that much of a stretch from the
listen,
fan
no,
all
theories.
of
it's
the
not.
theories in that video about Bill Like, a lot of that I didn't make up, the stuff about Dad Strange and the pentagram. I just made up Jubilant Gleeful and am proud of it. I'm the creator of Jubilant Gleeful.
I've had him for 60 seconds and I already love him. So well done.
I'm happy about being able to imitate Kevin Michael Richardson's Ghost Eyes voice, but adapt it to sound like it's Gideon's twin brother.
Well done.
So I've since changed the title of that video because it has nothing to do with this episode and removed the beginning where I say what probably happens in The Last Mabelcorn.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The video now shows under the title The Big Twist About Bill Cipher.
Did you so how could you...
YouTube allows you to cut down videos.
Okay.
Like edit out parts of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it stopped getting views because it had the episode title in it. Like,
yeah, people are no longer looking that up.
Like after a week after it came out, after the episode came out, people had stopped looking up the episode and people were only finding it by going through my channel. And I'm like, this is now a misnomer. It had its use. It got the first 200,000 views. Now it is not getting more views because of that. So now that is called The Big Twist About Bill Cipher. The link is not in the description. Ella is not comfortable with her animation. But the actual episode is called The Last Mabelcorn. It is the 15th episode of Season 2 of Gravity Falls and the 35th episode overall. It premiered on September 7th, 2015 on Disney XD. It was directed by Matt Brawley, alone, and written by Alex Hirsch, alone. We'll talk about it.
Oh, like that must be a typo, right? Like Alex Hirsch, Matt Chapman, Josh Weinstein, maybe, right? Right?
Maybe, right? Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, just Alex?
Just
Alex.
just the one.
Just Alex?
I wonder how that went
you know
down.
what? He's proven himself. He's a good storyteller. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I love that someone in our Discord said, there's one episode in Season 2 I just really don't like. And I said, I think you have the objective wrong answer on this. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to instill dread in you and about to rewatch something, Liz. We'll talk about it.
No, look, I have a memory of enjoying this episode.
I enjoy this episode.
And also acknowledging that it is one of the weaker episodes, but
we'll save it for the pod. We're not exactly in the pod space right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
No big deal. I'll just make my own preview with this professional web animation software. What up, dudes? Gravity Falls Season 2 is going to be so great. Let's get straight to the spoilers. Everybody wants to know what's inside Uncle Dan's magic nacho machine. Maybe it's got something to do with that future baby. Perhaps it's a doorway to a world of fanciful fur man. Like what's going on there? Or is it this little cell phone man I just made up? I will call him Full Bars. There you go. He's dialing himself, America. Adorable. What's up with these old and busted character designs? I think we should take a cue from a lot of the fan art I've seen and make Mabel 2.0 look like this. Oh, never mind. Back the other way. Back the other way. Close enough. In Season 2, Runklestan's head will be rendered in beautiful CG. Oh, voluptuous. A best friend from Dipper? I think I know just the guy. It's Full Bars! Look how well we're getting along. And did someone say romance? This season, every character is in a relationship. Will Wendy and Robbie get back together? I don't know, so I hypothetically shift them as when probably. Stan's El Diablo sure has been spending a lot of time with that golf cart lately. I shift them with pony legs for no reason. Golf blow! Oh, and what's this? Brenda's iguana and one of Pacifica's no-name friends' earrings? I'd give you Ringuano name! Oh man, we're going so ship crazy, I'm even shipping the word gravity with the word falls. Welcome to Season 2 of Flaptrolity.
All right, so we just watched Last Mabelcorn. Liz,
That was
what did
weirder
you
than
think?
I remembered.
Yeah.
What did you think of that
Huh.
episode?
Look, I've watched this series a few times and I don't remember any of that.
Okay, well,
What,
I'm
what are you
gonna
talking
shoot
about?
straight
That
with
was
you.
wait, no, that was the same
I'm gonna
episode.
shoot straight
it's-
with you, Liz. That was not the Last Mabelcorn.
What?
That was
What?
I'm shocked.
that was a bit of a jape, a jest, if you will,
So
on our part.
Shocking.
What had happened was the podcast had gone on hiatus for me to move apartments. So welcome to our April Fool's episode now.
At the end of April instead of the beginning,
That's how you know it's a good April Fool's joke. It doesn't even
because
happen on
you're
the
not
first.
expecting it. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So can we tell you what that was?
Please, I have so many questions.
So many questions. So that
Okay, I
was
want
at
to do
the
that.
that
Okay.
was at the New York. Was that New York
No,
Comic
that
Con
was San Diego Comic-Con 2014.
2014.
It was right
Yeah.
before the air date of season 2. They said they were going to show some exclusive footage to the panel, and then that happened. There are no credits on it. I don't need them. They'd be redundant.
It's the most Matt Chapman thing Gravity Falls has ever put out. It feels exactly like a Homestar Runner cartoon or Strong Bad Email.
So that was animated in a software formerly known as Macromedia Flash, at this point known as Adobe Flash.
R.I.P.
That fully
And what the
tracks.
soundtrack was done on something known as a Casio. Those are both linchpins, essentials to the Homestar oeuvre. Matt works on Gravity Falls. I'm obsessed with that because I started watching Gravity Falls because Homestar was on hiatus and he was working. I followed his IMDb. I didn't talk about that right before season 2 aired because I was saving it for April Fools. I wasn't gonna not talk about it, so let's talk about it.
Didn't work out chronologically, but we're planning on talking about it here, and it's worth talking about. So let's talk about it.
I feel like I'm still processing it. There was
Yeah,
so
it's-
much happening.
So what we were just looking at is when you heard Seuss talking about how the trailer broke, we just saw like a buffering sign. And so the convention panel attendees were treated to Seuss's desktop as he opens up the backup version of the trailer that he made. And like, yeah, it seems like it was written and animated entirely by Matt Chapman because it's using like pre-made, stock poses and assets. And it's reminiscent of
And the Folbars, the little cell phone man, has the stick figure arms and legs of Teen Girl Squad and Trogdor.
yeah, Full Bars feels exactly like a character Strong Bad would invent. The dialogue, there are moments that feel like a little Seuss-like.
There's a DVD special feature where someone asks Strong Bad what Pom Pom's family is like, and he imagines them. Stella Dew, who is a floating pair of headphones with arms and legs and a face. Well, the face is floating, the headphones are on legs. Stella Dew looks so much like Folbars.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, some of the dialogue feels like things only Seuss would say, but most of it feels like it could be coming out of Strong Bad's mouth and it would be identical in
So
tone.
I literally did not make the Matt Chapman connection until I was editing the last episode of this podcast for you
Oh,
two.
yeah?
Yeah, I just had not made the connection before, mostly because I didn't follow the creators of Homestar Runner that closely. Like I was like, they're out probably doing things, but I had not looked into it. And like learning that, I was like, so much makes sense now.
Yeah, I'm the opposite in that.
You looked into it too much.
Well, that was why I discovered Gravity Falls, was because I was looking into what are the Homestar guys doing now. I had not really heard of the show prior to seeing Matt tweet about it.
So, yeah, it has the Flash style animation, the just general tone of the narration, full bars, and also just the unwieldiest sounding names.
Well,
for things,
there's a
like the
bunch
ship
there's a
names.
bunch of ship names. He talks about all the ships that will get confirmed in season 2, because when they're writing a TV show, the reason that characters have crushes on other characters is because big emotions equal big stakes, and he's 12. That was the biggest emotion they felt as 12-year-old boys. Not because they're trying to tease at anything.
But they're responding directly to the fandom here because they're literally talking to an audience full of fans. So there's also a joke about the Bill fan art that always gets me with the visual
Which
of
also
Mabel.
leads me to believe that, and how in character Seuss is, lead me to believe Alex had some hand in this.
I think Alex pitched some of the concepts of jokes that they could do, and then Matt wrote them in his kind of style of speaking.
And then Matt also wrote Fixin' It with Seuss, and
That's
voices.
what I was gonna say. Yeah,
Voices
It feels-
Seuss's grandma, so to some extent, Matt is like
And
part
the
of
high
Seuss.
five, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And it feels reminiscent because Seuss does like his laser eyes thing. I think it's out of his mouth this time, but they establish that Seuss has a certain editing style, and they continue that here. With
Even
the
though
trailer that
he's
he made.
animating.
I have to say, if I hadn't made the Matt Chapman connection before this would have like cemented. It would have like pinged something like deep in my brain from, when I was 12 years old watching Strong Bad Emails. That would have been like, oh, a primal memory has been unlocked.
The other visual that always gets me, there's Mabel turning into a Jack Skellington Bill creature, but there's also the ship between Grenda's lizard and one of Pacifica's no-name cronies, and then the lizard goes into her ear.
It's horrible.
It's really bad.
But it does have the best, in my opinion, dumb Matt word of the entire thing, which is Ringuano name.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, did I say her crony? No, it's her crony's earring. That's right.
Yes, her no-name. Her
no-name crony's earring.
no-name
And then
friend's earring.
Charlie and I refer to this little short colloquially as Flapgrolity, which is the ship name of Gravity and Falls, but it is just sort of the season 2 fake out Comic-Con trailer.
And then there's a real trailer after it. But also there's a voiceover in the original panel right before it that is Beverly clearly Matt. So that more of his fingerprint. Liz.
All 6 of his
Liz. Celestabellebethabelle was a man. No, she was a unicorn, Matt? Well, she was just a unicorn. Are you ready to get into the episode proper?
I am ready.
Do you want me to skip the theme song, or do you want to watch the cold open again?
No, the theme song slaps.
All right.
You're right.
It slaps too hard.
So let's actually for real watch The Last Mabelcorn.
Do either of you recognize this symbol?
Bill, an evil warning.
You have no dominion in our world.
A magical quest.
I am literally obsessed with unicorn. Are you even looking at the sweater I'm wearing right now? I hear if you lick a unicorn's neck, it tastes like your favorite flavor.
And a room you never knew existed.
Even your Uncle Stan doesn't know about this place.
On an all-new Gravity Falls.
Mother of mother!
Dream of a dream! No way.
Monday, September 7th at 8:30 on Disney XD.
So we just watched The Last Mabelcorn. Sad that there are no more
For
Mabelcorn.
real this time. We actually watched it this time.
We did indeed watch the actual episode. So this episode was written in 2 days, and oh boy does it show.
And I don't dislike it because I'm watching this series because I was on withdrawal from Flash cartoons, and name me a Flash cartoon that took a month to write. But it was written in 2 days. It is a fact.
For context, here's a clip from the commentary of Alex talking about it.
Oh, just thinking about this episode gives me some traumatic flashbacks.
Why?
At this point in the season, we were very late into the season, and there was an episode that we were working on that we could not for the life of us crack. It was going to be an episode about Wendy that was like, I always wanted to do a Wendy episode. I think she's a great character, and I felt that like it would be a crime to end the series without an episode all about her. And so we tried to come up with one, and there was an outline, and it was about her sort of relationship with her family and her insane lumberjack dad. But
oh my gosh.
It involved her at some point getting weather controlling powers. Because we needed magic, we needed something that was like a connection to the magic of the world. And somehow that was the thing that we wound up with, and it didn't work. It felt too crazy, and also Frozen had just come out.
That sounds like an X-Men episode.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, because Wendy's a really grounded character, and so it's sort of like it's something we kind of come up with in the room, and then when the script came back, it was through no fault of the writer, it wasn't working, and we were really behind, and I realized I had a choice, which is we could either produce this episode that really didn't seem in character for Wendy, or I could write a new episode in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
And so The Last Mabelcorn was born.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
That's why I'm the only writer credited on this episode.
So, yeah.
And he picked the latter, and that's fine.
I will say that, yes, it shows that it was written in 2 days, but also, it could have been way more obvious that it was written in 2 days.
Well, Alex is a good writer. Alex
is.
had worked in the Flash animation medium before. I'm sure he's used to spending this long on a script.
And he's
the
done
jokes are great.
So many scripts at this point, and he kind of knew what he was trying to do with the episode.
As well as a lot of the stuff between Ford and Bill was based off of stuff cut from Tale of Two Stands, so that might have been based on something that had multiple drafts.
They were going to establish that Bill and Ford had a connection in the end tag of A Tale of Two Stands. He was going to be settling into the shack, and then Bill was going to show up like, look who's back, and it was going to be kind of foreboding, but that was just too much for an already lore-heavy saturated episode. So yes, he had that in his pocket for this one, but it is why he is the only credited writer on this episode. And I honestly, yes, it is ultimately good, which is really, really surprising given its path to production. But there are moments where it does feel...
Well, I mean, he spent about as long as any South Park script has ever been.
Yeah, you're right. But I know, Liz, you said it felt a little flat.
So I've watched Gravity Falls a few times through, and I'm a perpetual multitasker, so I'm usually not paying like the closest attention to what's going on. But the first time I watched the show, I did watch it like all the way through. I remember being like, okay, that wasn't the strongest episode, but we did some lore. We made some important like plot beats, right? Like fortifying the shack is an important plot beat. That's gonna
fortifying the shack.
Hey, now that I'm here, we can finally fortify the shack. Yeah!
Oh man, that was such a good one, Great Uncle Ford. Mabel's like, hey, it wasn't that good, Dipper. Shut up, Mabel.
It definitely, it's weird to have what feels more like a filler episode this late in the game. You know what I mean?
Well, it's bizarre because it's half a quote unquote filler episode and half like some of the most important stuff we've gotten yet. And it's a very weird combination of things.
It's one of the hardest episodes to skip on a watch through, and it's got some of the least important stuff.
It's really tempting to skip, but then you're like, oh wait, nope.
I also love that this shows a lot of personal growth from Alex Hirsch, because in season 1, the episode he was not proud of, he talked to the network and tried to get pulled from airing, which was Dipper versus Manliness. We talk all about it in the podcast episode on that.
In a way, it is still rooted in a kind of perfectionism, because he was like, okay, we have an episode that is like not that great, or I could just start from scratch and go on a 2-day bender writing an episode
for 48 hours.
Yeah, and granted, like, from the sound of it, the episode, like, it wouldn't have just been, oh, it wasn't perfect, but it was good. Like, it actually wasn't working. So I get it. So we begin this episode with from the POV of some mysterious character zooming into the mystery shack. We're looking at Dipper and Mabel sleeping, and Dipper is asleep with a book on top of him. It's another entry in the Sibling Brothers series titled The Telltale Fable of the Unstable Table.
Now, what was the previous one, Ella?
That was the Case of the Caper Case Caper.
This is good.
And now we have the...
Good alliteration. Good. What is it? Assonation?
Consonants, I think, or assonance and consonants.
And then the next thing we see is Ford asleep in his bedroom, which we saw in Carpet DM. So he moved back into his bedroom that Stan had sealed wallpaper over the door of.
Yeah, I think that one. That time it was just a shelf. That the wallpaper was covering the wax museum, but I think it was literally just a shelf.
He was like, I don't want to look at it anymore. Pushes the furniture in front of it. That's good enough. I'll fix it again later. 30 years later. Oh, yeah.
I don't think it was only kind of implied that it was Ford's bedroom, because it's where Stan sleeps after Ford disappears.
I'll give you one. We see Ford has a lot of prisms in this episode, glass pyramids that reflect a rainbow.
And there was one in Carpet Diem.
There was one in Carpet Diem, and there was a rainbow reflection on the hand of the author in Gideon Rises when he said he wrote a series of journals or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess what I mean is that, yes, it was obvious that the room belonged to the author, but that it was his bedroom specifically, that it was where he slept.
Now we know.
Now we know. And I guess he just kicked out Seuss, because it was his break room.
Well, Seuss does not work in the middle of the night. When Seuss clocks out, that is when Ford can use it for sleep purposes.
I guess so. But I also want to imagine an odd couple sort of scenario where Seuss and Ford have to share this
I
room.
love that Ford is like, I'm ready to sleep, and Seuss is like, but I'm not ready to stop working, dude.
Yeah, come on, man. Can't we figure out like some kind of
You can't cut me off now, man. I love sweeping this floor.
Some kind of peaceful coexistence here, dude. Look, okay, I'm gonna divide the room up with this piece of chalk.
So this side is my break room, and that side you can sleep, and I'll be real quiet.
Oh, you won't even know I'm here, dude. I can see you standing. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. No, shh, don't worry about it.
No, would it be better if I like looked away from you?
How about I'll do what my grandma does with me when I can't sleep. I'm gonna put this blanket over you, and you'll fall right asleep.
Stop! What are you doing? Get that off of me!
We honestly don't get enough interaction with those two. I think that would be a good little short. We should
All
make
right.
that.
So yeah, no, we'll just demand our listeners animate it. No, don't do that.
That's a normal thing to ask of someone.
Yeah, animation. How long does animation take?
Oh no, I meant
an
like
afternoon?
demanding that someone who has no control over Gravity Falls releasing, demanding that they produce more Gravity Falls is a normal thing to ask.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
We get some Ford lore in this episode when
right
Bill
after
shows up.
after the lore on the sibling brothers and the lore on the bedroom.
Yeah, we get Bill shows up in Stanford's dreamscape and reveals his full name as Stanford Philbrick Pines. His middle name is his dad's name.
In the browser game, we learned Bill says Mischief is my middle name, but not my first.
That's right. We learned that in Rumble's
So
Revenge.
I was hoping Ford would reply, well, Bill Mischief Cipher.
Yeah, it would be cool to get some in-show acknowledgement that is his canon middle name.
That did make me a little excited because my middle name is James, which is my father's first name, and I'm like, he did the me thing.
Yeah. Well, Philbrick wasn't too creative.
Philbrick, he was a stubborn, tough New Jersey native that way. I feel like having twins was not his plan.
Well,
to,
he shrugged.
To be fair, I don't know that that's anyone's plan.
I'm gonna have twins. I'm gonna deliberately go. I'm gonna go for a twofer, honey. Are you ready for this?
Oh, there are strategies. There are superstitions of people
okay.
like if you do this during the moment of conception, then you are more likely to have
I thought that
twins.
was going a different direction for a second. I was real confused.
Liz, would you play Don't Wake Stalin?
Yes, absolutely. At least once, just to see what it's like.
Just to say that you've done it?
Also, when they're going through the board games, they do see Don't Wake Stalin, which is a hilarious joke. But also there was a Jumanji parody, which I predicted for Dungeons and More Dungeons.
2 episodes ago.
So, like...
Kind of right.
I wrote this show. I should be getting royalties when it airs. I don't know what to tell you.
Are you sure that you didn't write this one in 2 days?
You
wrote it in a minute and a half.
I've lived a many series of 2 days, Ella. This could have been any number of them.
That's true. It's interesting when it comes to the jokes about Grunkle Stan's criminal record. They tend to be very like just all over the map, also literally all over the map. But like they have specifically followed up on a joke set up at the end of the previous episode where it's revealed that he's engaged in pug trafficking, and he says,
I have a lot of cheap pugs and I need to move them fast.
And then at the beginning of this episode, we see him doing just that.
That's some good continuity. Just a stupid joke
really
that no one would have remembered.
Yeah, it's a really weird moment of continuity.
Ending one episode and beginning the next. It took a lot of coordination for no
Well, I feel like that's also probably an effect of Alex sitting down to write this in 2 days and knowing what episode just
knowing
came before.
full well how the previous episode ended. That's
and
true.
He
You don't normally.
He doesn't have to come up with another funny thing for Stan to be doing. He can just continue.
No, you're
what they
right.
did.
Because this would have been after all of the rewrites.
I have questions about the pug trafficking because he's like, you've got so many days to get them to the border, but which border? Because
are we talking Canadian border? That would be easy.
So he does talk to the man.
That's my question though, because the guy who's smuggling them is clearly Hispanic. So, but I'm like, the Mexican border is really far away from Oregon.
It's actually He's driving to the Samoan border.
Yes, of course, through the ocean. As
it's
one
a
does.
boat
Yeah,
car.
boat car. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a night boat situation.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. You've cleared it up for me.
And I guess it's also like, what do you want me to buy like 100 dog crates for a plane? No, I'm putting them in barrels.
Yeah, that's the best way to.
It could entirely be possible that he is smuggling them into Canada and the nationality of his accomplice is not relevant.
That's my question though, is I'm just like, which border? Because Canada's a lot closer, but I got questions.
I also think we need to interrogate the fact that every time they've had Stan engaged with criminals. They've been Hispanic.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, he was in a Colombian prison. He said
He
that
owed
he would
money
get.
to Rico.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So
fun,
that's not
cool.
that's not
Don't
great
think I
for
didn't
them
clock
to write.
that. Yes, we should.
Yeah,
have
no,
that.
it's a little. It's an issue. It's an issue. We can talk
It's
about
almost as if this episode was written by one person,
By
and
one
us
white guy.
steeped in his life experiences.
almost, but that would be ridiculous. Who would do that on a major tentpole
Disney
show of a
property?
Disney show? Yeah. So in this episode, we are finally we've been asking about this ever since a handful of episodes ago, and Not What He Seems. They go down the elevator into the secret lab behind the vending machine. The Mystery Shack gift shop is on the ground level, and
That's
lab,
the floor where the ground is also, by the way. for
yes, that is the
context.
same, the very same.
Yeah,
The
the
lab,
ground floor, the ground of ground floor fame.
yes, the titular ground. The lab is 2 floors down, but there is a floor in between the two that they only passed a door with a lock on it. We didn't get to see until this episode.
Ooh.
How do we feel about Ford's private study, eh?
I don't feel about it. I never processed that this was anything interesting until we read the fan theory when the elevator went down in Gideon Rises. What was on the second floor? And I saw it pull up here, and you go, "Oh,
I guess we did see it in Gideon Rises, now that I think about it, yeah.
yeah." I didn't think about it until this moment when they stopped there and you went, "See." I was
Actually, okay, no, I'm remembering visually, I think in Gideon Rises we saw, like, the elevator arrow point that there was a second floor, and then in Not What He Seems we saw the door,
"Gotcha."
and now it's like, okay, now we're putting all the pieces together, and it is a little bit like the answer to a question no one asked, but some people were asking. And the backgrounds, I mean, in season 2 in general have gotten so much more lush and detailed, and I can't, there's no accounting for taste in terms of decor, but it's a swanky room, swanky study.
You've noticed the swank?
The swank is unbearable, actually. It's a little musty.
Unbearable.
More like
swank.
Swankford.
Unbearable swank.
More like Swankford Pines. Am I right?
Yeah,
There it is.
yeah.
There it is.
Am I right,
Uh-huh.
ladies?
So the plot of the episode, which no one really cares about, is about Bill has returned.
That's the A plot? That doesn't show up
Yeah.
until
No,
like
no,
I was
I'm not
16
saying-
minutes
I feel
in.
like that's I feel like the important plot is the B plot, which is weird.
Hey, they named the plot after me.
No,
What do you think
I'm
the
saying,
B stands
listen,
for, kid?
Listen, I did not finish my
Okay,
sentence.
Okay.
And now you are riffing on an incomplete sentence, which is what we do here. But anyway, the A plot of the episode is that because Bill has made his return apparent to Ford, or vice versa, I suppose, Ford has alerted. Well, he was trying to alert the entire Pines family. Stan was a little busy. I do wonder how that conversation would have gone down. Like, Ford is calling a family meeting and Stan doesn't show up, and Ford's like, good, I didn't want him to show up anyway. But once he alerts the kids that Bill is, he's up to something. He's after that interdimensional rift. Of course, Mabel still doesn't know about that, but he has sent Mabel to find some unicorn hair, because that can help protect the Mystery Shack from Bill's powers. And in order to get the unicorn hair, Mabel has to ask Celestabellebethabelle, who is voiced by Sam Marin of regular show fame. He does several voices. Alex knew him from CalArts, but most people in the fandom knew him from regular show. The voice he is doing for Celestabellebethabelle is most similar to the voice he does for Pops, but his range, he goes from like, oh, I'm Pops, to I'm Muscle Man, you know what? My mom. Like, he's really good.
I've never seen this
I
show, but
haven't
those
either,
are amazing.
But yeah, you
Yeah.
sold me on it on that alone.
The title is a riff on the Rankin Bass film The Last Unicorn, and
How many times
Rankin
can they
Bass, yeah.
riff on
her
Rankin Bass? I
character
don't-
is based on Mia Farrow's protagonist, who is just called, like, The Last Unicorn. And Alex just hates this character, just thinks she's really whiny and, like, a jerk. And so I guess both the writing as well as the voice are kind of riffing on how annoying Alex finds this character.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't get it.
I kind of get it. I did watch it recently with my friend Haley. Shout out to Haley. Hi, you're a listener to the podcast. I watched it a few months ago for the first time. I kind of get it, but I feel like Alex, what I'm guessing happened is my fan theory about Alex Hirsch's actual real childhood is that Ariel Hirsch was probably obsessed with this film and Alex probably hated it. It's probably similar to the boy band situation where it was something that his sister was obsessed with that he just could not stand. But how do we all feel about this character? Because she's a jerk, but I kind of love her.
I love her.
It's the voice is, the delivery is really funny.
Yeah.
And there's some of the best drawings.
Look, I just have to say, if I was a unicorn with magical hair that had magical properties that meant people might be coming to get it from me, I too would create a whole elaborate racket to dissuade them from doing so.
If I had hair that had magical properties and people were trying to get it, what I would do is probably kidnap myself as a baby, lock myself in a tower, and gaslight myself into never leaving. That's what I would
Okay,
do.
Oh,
that's-
interesting.
yeah, interesting
What I
choice.
would do, what I would do, if I didn't have magical hair because I wasn't a unicorn, I would still with people. Like I don't know, maybe edit some joke trailer from Comic-Con into an episode and claim that they were actually watching it.
Yeah, but that's funny. Making someone think they're a bad person isn't really that good of a joke.
Oh, okay. So that's the difference between a good prank and a bad prank, which this one was good. We have just said that out loud now. We can compliment her. Let's give Ella and I a round of applause real quick for that flap-quality thing.
I'm applauding.
Yeah.
I can't hear it real well.
That's a lot of clap syncing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You have to resync like six
yeah,
times
it's gonna be a
there.
nightmare.
So, Liz, can you give us an overview of how similar this Mabel plot is to a live-action roleplay scenario?
I mean, it's the beginning when they're like headed into the woods to go
Into the
Yes.
woods.
You have
Into
to
the
go.
woods and out of the woods and all before
Yes,
dark.
thank you
Yeah.
for that reference.
You have to take the journey.
Uh-huh.
you
But
know?
when they're headed in to go get to the unicorn, it does have the same vibes as like when you're at LARP and like, story staff has just been like, okay, like this is the thing you guys are about to go do. This is
Don't worry about it. Actually, never mind. You get a free pass.
what?
Well, the thing that you're is actually it's a movie from 1982.
I see. Okay, we're gonna just pretend that we didn't take that detour. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you.
You have
finish
the
your
authority
sentence.
to edit it
It's
out.
fine. It's fine. We're just going to pretend we didn't. But it does have the same vibe as, story staff being like, hey, this is the mod y'all are going on. This is how it's going to work. And you got to go this way. And you're like walking out into the like field or wherever they're sending you. And you're just waiting for, you don't know what, maybe something's going to jump out at you, maybe not. You don't
That's
know.
interesting. So they have like set up a physical like course for you to traverse.
It varies so wildly, but they can.
Really
yes.
interesting because it is definitely a departure from like the world of tabletop. Obviously, it's a lot. The logistics of it are very different. And are there like side quests ever? Like, is that?
Not to turn this into a LARP podcast, so I'll try to give
I
you.
would
No,
love
do.
I'll
Why
try
else would
to-
we have
I'll
asked you
try
to
to
guess?
make this
Appropriate.
a concise answer. It varies a lot from game to game. My game is huge. It averages like 300 to 400 players a game. So there's plot happening everywhere, and there's just all these things happening because everyone's
That's great.
everyone's doing their own
That
thing.
seems
But
like a nightmare to coordinate, but it sounds really fun.
we have a very dedicated story staff who are wonderful, and they're all volunteers, and God bless each and every one of them. But
That's amazing.
but we do these big things that we call them. So if you're going out to do like anything that's run by story staff, we call it a mod or a module. We call it a mod. And we have the big ones that are called like anchor mods. And that's usually like the big bad for this game. You have to go fight him now. And so there will be times when, especially for the like bigger anchor mods, where you're doing like fighting the big bad, they will sort of arrange it. So we've done ones where like, so where I LARP, it's actually a Renaissance fairground. And
Ooh.
yeah,
Hey!
it rules. It's very
Sister!
it's super immersive. I love it. And because they don't use the grounds like 10 months out of the year. So there's a bunch of LARPs that use it. So it's
That's
it's
awesome.
great. But so we'll be going on like, sometimes they send us on out of town mods where they take us out of the actual town that we inhabit, and there's other stuff on the site. Like we've done one where they're like, okay, we're going down to where the amphitheater is in, you know, real life, and you know, they did one where they put down tarps, and they're like, these tarps are going to be representative of like fire traps, basically. So if you step on them, you're going to take a certain amount of fire
so what
damage.
you're saying is the floor, in a way,
Is lava.
Is lava.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that has happened at least once.
Interesting. I've never heard of
Occasionally
this.
the floor is lava, yes.
The floor is lava.
Is lava, yes. But one of the things our game is all the players have to do what we call an NPC shift, where you go back and story staff is like, hey, you're going to be an imp. Here's your sword. Go terrorize players in like this way that we've organized. So
done and done.
You know,
someone
tends to say that to me too, but I don't know what they mean.
I think they're just observing.
Yeah. But yeah, so sometimes they will have like actual stuff set up for you to like like during summer games. A lot of times they'll do like water balloon mods because it's really hot, and
that's nice.
So they'll do stuff like that for us sometimes. But like
I like that.
It varies so wildly. I've been on huge combat mods, and I've also been on mods where we literally all sit in a circle with our eyes closed. So
what type of mod is the unicorn hair quest?
How would you classify that?
The unicorn hair quest. I think this is like sort of like a fetch quest, right? Where you're going into a location out of town, and your goal is to retrieve an item, and you've been given some.
And there is a big bad. There is an overarching thing here. Yeah.
But like the trick is like you don't necessarily have to fight them if you don't want to, right? There's multiple
I mean
paths.
Bill. Like I'm saying the motivation here is Bill.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have a mini boss sort of.
Yeah, and they do that a lot where they're like, hey, you need to go do this thing to help you against the big bad. So we're giving you like the little like baby quest, but it's gonna help you overall. So like
like the cult from Supernatural.
It's been a minute since I've watched Supernatural.
I would imagine.
There was a gun that could shoot demons, and they went looking for it so they could shoot a demon.
Look, that sounds
essentially.
great. That sounds great. Like
it's sort of the
it's a great
Shield
show.
equivalent of that.
Like I said, I'm about to be under siege by demons next weekend, so I would love a gun that could shoot demons.
I'm sorry to hear about that. Let us know if you're all right.
They do go on a side quest in their journey because after trying to impress Celestabellebethabelle by doing a bunch of good deeds, Celestabellebethabelle is still not giving up her hair. So they basically, Wendy and Candy and Grendo resort to some underground methods. They go to Nasty's, GNASTYS.
No notes. Perfect.
The gnome bar in the forest, this tavern. So if you do like a tavern scene, do you go to actual tavern?
Because we have an actual physical location. We have multiple tavern locations in town. We have a few people. The game they love to play is what they basically call being a glorified NPC. Like one of my friends, he runs a tea shop in town. That's what he does with his game. He shows up. You can go there. You can pay him.
I want to do that.
Okay, Liz, this is what's going to happen next is you're going to DM me your nearest airport and pull some strings to get me in the game.
Good news, first game is free, and I'm on the new player team, so all you gotta do is fly to Los Angeles and we'll make it happen.
I'm going to do it eventually.
Boy,
I got it. I mean, you have so many
I'll
friends
DM
from
you
there.
details, don't worry.
So outside of the gnome bar, there's a carved R.I.P. Schmebulok Sr., which is really sad. We just established a few episodes ago that Schmebulok had a dad. Now
I just want to say in my next D&D game, I'm gonna make a gnome bar that is called Nasties with a G.
You should just adapt this straight up. Have one doing the what is that called? Have a gnome do it with the acorn doing the finger thing. What is that?
Finger thing?
I know that has a name where you like take like a pencil or scissors and you just like go between your fingers.
Oh, the like stabby thing?
The knife game. The knife game.
Yeah, the knife game.
Okay.
Oh, I have all my
fingers.
There was a knife game. So the knife So there was a knife game joke cut from sock opera because it was supposed to be one of the first things Bill did in Dipper's Body, and Standards and Practices says, no, we never allowed that on our network. But
they put one in this episode.
But they were right up against the deadline, and they were like, "Well,"
They were like, "Okay, whatever."
Amazing.
although to be
That's
fair,
why there's a drug deal in this
to be
episode.
fair, I have no idea if the knife game joke was in the script or if it was only boarded. But yes, there is Alex running on absolute fumes and just writing a drug deal scene into this episode. So Liz, they're trying to get what is it that they're trying to get?
Unicorn hair. Oh no,
No, but what is
No.
the
What are they getting from the
it's the pixie dust. I was
pixie
like,
dust?
isn't that
fairy
just what you
dust.
call PCP? No, that's angel dust.
Yes, they are trying to get fairy dust in order to tranquilize a horse.
also known as fencyclidine?
And I gotta say, I wasn't like when this aired, and every time I rewatch the scene, I'm always like, this is a little much. Like, I don't really find it funny. And then the cop's crooked, and I'm like, yeah, this is really funny.
No, yeah,
it's the cop being crooked that like that's the button we discussed what a button is earlier. That is the quintessential, because the scene where it's like Grendo is cooperating with the cops, like I'm like, oh, that's upsetting, and then it's like the cop sucks, and it's like, now you've won me back.
Yeah.
I have to say, just because I live in Los Angeles and I have
You do?
Shocking, right? I have some knowledge of the goings on of the industry. I'm just like, was Alex Hirsch on drugs when he wrote this? I mean, I don't know his drug habits, so I don't know, but there are a lot of writers in Hollywood who will just like, I gotta meet this deadline, time to just do all the uppers, so I don't know.
I mean, he just doesn't sleep naturally. Sleep is not a
And
natural...
you've heard of the old saying, write drunk, edit sober. And this was a first draft.
Ain't no editing.
Yeah, no editing.
So this is the step one, drunk.
Uh-huh. Yeah, probably.
But
honestly.
I never fully appreciated the deer with the siren until you pointed that out, Liz.
It's so good.
I just love stupid details like that, and the thing that sells it for me is the deer looks so stoic, like head empty, just siren.
All the animals in Gravity Falls are like very deliberately like dead-eyed. They're not really cartoony, like sentient animals. They are just creatures, and I think that sells a lot of it.
Just so funny. Yeah, it's just like I am a sentient siren, and it's fine.
So a lot of the boards in this one were Emmy Ciceriga, the co-creator of Potter Puppet Pals, by the way. That's right, the Homestar Runner person and the Potter Puppet Pals person are in this show and this episode.
It does have that internet video energy a little bit.
Well, yeah, because
it sure does.
there is a montage of Mabel doing good deeds, one of which is just the DVD cover of the film Food Fight,
yes.
which is the Ciceriga-iest thing on this show.
But there were even more Ciceriga-y things in more of that good deeds montage in deleted storyboards, but that was uploaded to YouTube and set to Bad Reputation by Joan Jett as like the placeholder. So during the song that we ended up actually getting in the montage, we get Carmen Carter back, and Carmen Carter was the singer who sang Mabel's the Boss now, way back in Boss Mabel. And she's back to sing about Mabel doing good deeds. And I love Share a Smile, Dream a Dream, doing some good deeds. It's like the same level of just the dumbest lyrics sung by this genuinely fantastic singer.
She's very good, and she, much like in the previous one, when she belts, you do not realize the things she is saying are the silliest thing you've ever heard.
Exactly. And I imagine this was another... Actually, I'm not sure. Brad Brick writing the initial pass, and then...
When I said I do not think there is a song in season 2 that Matt Chapman has not done a lyrical pass on, Rob Renzetti said, I think that's correct.
Okay, so that would... I mean, it's also possible that this is just another thing that Alex wrote in that 2-day bender, but who knows? So, even though this episode took the place of a Wendy-centric episode, I think she still gets some good stuff to do here. I genuinely enjoy the little speech she gives about girl power. It's nice.
I like Wendy in this episode a lot. I really like Wendy, but like, I don't know. I just enjoy that they're like, Wendy, come hunt unicorns with us. And she's like, I don't even really believe in them anymore, but yeah, let's go.
This is established as her pajama shirt in Tale of Two Stands, so
That's
she doesn't
true.
even
Yeah.
get dressed for this. They're like, come collect unicorns. She's like, whatever, and then rolls out of bed.
Yeah, and she's just trying to make sure they don't walk into a bear trap, which is very responsible of her.
That camp counselor origins of her character.
Exactly. I like the crazed, angry, sweaty animals line. That's very good.
I really like that too.
Yeah,
We don't need to perform femininity.
Yeah.
Like, be a sweaty animal. It rules.
It is. And we talked about earlier that Alex's writing is limited by his worldview, but everyone's is. That's what worldviews are. That's a great bit. We don't have any notes on
especially
that.
Grenda is included in that conversation, as we discussed in the Northwest Mansion
Although
Mystery
you talked
episode.
about the joke about her being able to summon the thing because it's not the thing.
The fact that these are in the same episode kind of balances out to a net zero.
Exactly. There's not no transphobia,
Yeah.
but there is an average of zero
Yes,
transphobia.
exactly.
And that's the best we can ask for sometimes.
Yeah. When the unicorns are revealed to... Well, I don't know. I feel like Celestabellebethabelle says, like, we're jerks, as though, like, it's just a unicorn thing, but it's just a Celestabellebethabelle thing. The other unicorns are fine.
Imagine there being, like, a group of 3 friends, and the worst of the 3 of them are like, we're such right?
And
The
they're
3 of
like,
us,
no.
just the
Yeah.
pricks.
That's the energy, though. The other two are just like, man, we just say that because we want people to leave us alone. But she's pulling a scam.
The energy of her. What is the main character? What is the main character from The Good Place?
Eleanor?
Eleanor.
Yeah, the energy of Eleanor's friends from life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, clearly they know that I used to be a huge piece of but I'm not anymore.
She's pulling a scam for like no reason too, right? It's just
She's
to
just
like
bored.
watch these girls run around for no
Well, we get a moment where she's alone and she's reading Winnie Pray Trot. We get a little insight into her internal world where she's like, sure, I'd love to travel, but it's just not feasible in this economy. So I think she's kind
A
of
nihilist?
Well, no, I think she's just at like retirement age and she's just kind of bored.
Oh, maybe. So she's the mean old woman?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a young person who has been damaged by the economy and is broken.
I see.
Both
yeah.
could be true.
But
either work.
I read it as like, what with I'm a pensioner.
With my pension?
I can't afford that.
I'm a pensioner. I can't afford that.
Yeah, I was gonna say with my social security, but then I realized I could say pensioner. And one of the other unicorns says that the unicorn horn can't actually tell if you're a good person. It can only play rave music and point to the nearest rainbow. But the original line was point toward the nearest trapper keeper, which is really funny. I am not the right generation for trapper keepers. I imagine
Listen,
that you are.
we want to talk about Lisa Frank. We
Lisa
got the
Frank,
millennials
Trapper
here.
Keeper, baby.
Listen. It's not like being a fan of an artist. You have to understand.
It's a lifestyle.
No,
it's a way
not
of
about
life.
that.
No. Yes. Ray, my favorite pajamas that former guest Ray has are Lisa Frank for Hot Topic did a collaboration with Viacom
the
to draw
SpongeBob ones,
SpongeBob
yeah.
a bunch.
Wow. Wild.
So was it a legal issue with Lisa Frank or
No, it's Trapper Keeper, because Trapper Keeper is not a common noun, it is a brand, but it has been used as a common noun in the same way that Kleenex is used as a common noun, even though it's actually legally.
Can I tell my favorite Lisa Frank joke?
Please.
Yes.
There's a wonderful TikTok, and he claims that his name is Frank Lisa, and that when he tried to copyright the brand, they mixed it up for some reason, and now I sound like I'm a chick. But I don't care. I ain't never gotta draw a dolphin that's gray. I hate it when things are gray.
I gotta link that. Liz, for those of us who are too old or too young to know what a Trapper Keeper is, can you please enlighten us?
They were just like, it's like a binder, but a lot of times it zips and it's got like little slots for all your pens and stuff. And
all your school supplies.
You know, yeah, all your
It
school
is
supplies.
if a binder is pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
Okay.
are the cargo shorts of binders.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, got it,
You
got
lost me for a second, but now I'm picking up what you're putting down, and that's
how I
exactly it.
talk. That's how I always talk.
I was like, pants? What? Okay, but yes, the cargo shorts of of binders is what a trapper keeper is. And like they were status symbols, right? Like if you had that Lisa Frank trapper keeper in your second grade classroom or whatever, you were cool.
Or Frank Lisa, it's unclear.
Yeah, either, you know, who can say?
Well, the brand. It's more about the brand.
Who can say? But like it was a status symbol, right? And like, and you know, it was like the Lisa Frank stuff was on everything. You could have it on your spiral notebooks. You could have it on the folders. They had pencils.
On your SpongeBob pajamas.
It just, but
and just imagine, there's a joke about the images airbrushed on the sides of vans, but it's like if that was like everywhere. All the time.
If airbrushing was not for van owners, but instead for 12-year-old girls.
Exactly.
If 12-year-old girls owned the vans of the world, this is what the airbrushing would look like.
That's exactly it. Yes, that's correct.
And it's so, but it doesn't even sound like it was that gendered. I mean, yes, it had unicorns on it. Those are.
The reason it was gendered.
It was gendered. Yeah.
We're just censoring that part of our younger history.
Yeah. It was pretty decidedly gendered.
Which is what the joke of Frank Lisa is. I've decided Lisa Frank is no longer feminine. Sorry.
all the like animals on it, because it wasn't just unicorns. There were like tigers and like rainbow leopards and stuff.
Dolphins and elephants, provided they were not gray.
Yeah,
Lisa Frank doesn't like when elephants are gray.
For reasons previously established.
But they were all like they were all pretty femininely coded, and the lone like boy dolphin, you'd be like, all right, you're here too, but like it was for girls.
And it's
the
like,
token
I
boy
am
dolphin.
Blue. I am almost gray.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have a baseball cap.
That was pretty much the vibes. Yeah.
It's very smile dip as well.
Yeah. I mean, rainbows. I love them.
Rainbows.
Don't worry
okay,
about
so
it.
in the Gravity Falls universe, rainbows are vomit for gnomes, but blood for unicorns because Mabel punches Celestabellebethabelle in the nose.
Have we seen gnome blood?
That's true.
So maybe they're
that
just
gnome was very
plasma.
good at the knife game, so we didn't see any gnome blood.
Maybe they are just the fluids of mystical forest creatures. Yeah.
I don't like that.
That raises some questions that I'm not.
So
no.
The answer. I know the question that's been raised, and I know the answer. Oh yeah, the leprechaun's taking a piss. Yeah, no, yes,
okay.
Obviously.
I
want to
know what's
obvious
at the end of
answer,
that
right?
rainbow. There was the fight scene that ensues happens off screen in the final episode, but there was actually a longer version of that fight that was fully animated but cut for time, but it's so rare that things get cut that are animated to the extent that they are. Like, the sound in this clip is still temp, but it's fully animated. Like, I think it's probably a first pass, like, before retakes, because Mabel has normal teeth instead of her braces, but it's so rare that this happens in animation.
Because normally it's expensive to cut things, but if they did one retakes on this, it's less expensive to just decide not to use it.
And that's true. I'm just saying it's so rare that it even gets to this point to decide to cut it, because it's like, you can't do this to us.
When I was a child and saw that Incredibles had deleted scenes, I'm like, I love those, and I'm like, why
do they look like crap?
Why are they in a notebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the layout stage. It's like, why do they all have dead eyes?
No, I'm talking about like there's a deleted scene where it's just the storyboards, and I'm like, well, that's not a deleted scene. That's not what a scene looks like.
It's like, no, this is when you are allowed to delete scenes. After a certain point, you better make sure you're not going to delete any of those scenes, because we got to animate them.
It's going in whether you want it or not.
Yeah, let's check out that scene.
Anyone else want some?
So the plot of this episode that people actually care about involves Ford and Dipper. Ford has basically already given up on the idea that Mabel will successfully return with unicorn hair, because Ford is kind of a jerk. So I want to know what Ford's interaction with the unicorns was like. I want that as a short too. Just be like, you can't just base someone's morality on a scan with a unicorn horn. That doesn't make any sense.
I have a question. How much of your Ford voice is an impression of J.K. Simmons, and how much is an impression of my impression of J.K. Simmons?
Column A, column B.
Okay, that's incredibly flattering to hear that in your inflections.
Ah, thank you.
To be the key that let you get it.
And it depends on the context, I guess. If I'm doing, like, J. Jonah Jameson or Cave Johnson, I think of those clips, but I think I've probably heard more of you as Ford than J.K.
I definitely
Simmons
have heard
as
more
Ford.
of me as Ford, because editing takes a while, folks.
Yeah.
And animating. And
Ford is only in the last quarter of this show, so...
Right,
yeah.
and this was when we were most involved as in fan work.
Yeah, so basically, in lieu of the unicorn hair, Ford intends to encode their own thoughts, so Bill cannot read them. And they get plugged into this Project Mentum machine that shows their thoughts in text form. Dipper's thoughts, when displayed, all together read,
Oh man, I can't believe I'm working with the author! Gosh, I hope no one was looking. Maybe if I cross my legs, no one will notice. I'm kinda hungry, but I could also not eat. I should really try out the president's key sometime. I could probably rob a bank. I miss Tyrone. That red bathing suit. Man. Is my fly down? Disco girl! Coming through! Wendy. This is so hard. I've been here forever. Eeny, meeny, miny, you. Does Ford like me? Is Bill indestructible? What's his secret? But who stole the capers?
But Bill already told us his secret weakness. It's rubbing jalapeno peppers into your eyes.
He did tell us that. That was very helpful of him.
To be fair, that's most people's weakness.
Yeah.
with eyes.
No.
It would be anyone's weakness.
It's not Bill's eyes to have jalapeno peppers rubbed in his eyes. It is his
yeah,
weakness specifically
Right.
to have them rubbed in Dipper's eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
It has to be Dipper. It won't work otherwise. Liz.
Yeah, that tracks.
And if when Stanford got plugged into the machine, his thoughts were,
I can't tell him. He's not ready. I'm so close to the unified theory of weirdness. I missed Dimension 52. I'm sorry, Fiddleford. Crampelter.
Dinkelberg.
Crampelter was his childhood bully in Tale of Two Stands. He still thinks about him.
From accounting.
He thinks about his childhood bully more than he thinks about almost being eaten in multiple dimensions. Or his brother. He didn't think about his brother at all.
Yeah. A really subtle moment that I really love. I guess it's not subtle, but it's a
Wait,
quick
no,
moment.
I have a question. What was if I cross my legs, no one will notice in reference to, Ella?
He looked like he peed his pants, probably.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing else.
Okay, cool.
Red bathing suit. I'm sure he was just looking at one in a store.
He was trying to shop for bathing suits, and he was like, "Would that? Could I pull that off? I don't know. Red's a bold color for me."
Do I really have the body for it?
Couldn't mean anything else.
A quick moment while Dipper's plugged into the machine that I love is when he is considering hooking Ford up to the machine because he can tell there's something that Stanford is not telling him about Bill, and he wants to know it. And so his own thoughts begin telling him, like, why don't you just plug him into the machine? Like, the more you know about Bill, the more you can help, right? And he goes, man, I'm really good at rationalizing. And all his thoughts go, yes, you are, Dipper, yes, you are. And, like, it's really funny and a little, like, unsettling in a way. Like, we know in Not What He Seems, we kind of talked about this quote-unquote dark Dipper theory about him feeling like, oh, I am part of something different. I am meant for something better. I am, like, smarter than all of this. And it's that sense of ego that Ford definitely is feeding into, for sure. And also...
Like a hungry hippo, but with ego instead of marbles, and Dipper instead of hippo.
Yeah, kind of like a reverse hungry hippo, or a forwards, Now I'm blanking on the name.
Crossfire!
There you go.
Oh.
A forward crossfire.
Deep
No, you said it wrong. You pronounced it wrong.
Yeah, I know. But we've also talked about, and I've also talked about Dipper very clearly having OCD, and now his thoughts are literally communicating with him. Like, that is just how the internal monologue is all the time, but now it's external. So it's a little disturbing. So, I don't get the climax of this Ford plot of the episode. It doesn't work on me. It didn't work on me the first time.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense at all that he would start saying kid and his glasses would be opaque for a second.
Okay, for context, after Dipper plugs Ford into the machine, he starts seeing all these images of Ford making a deal with Bill, and it looks like it's painting a picture that Ford is in league with Bill. And then when Ford wakes up, he's got this anime-style glare on his glasses. You can't see his eyes. And then Dipper trips over this curtain, revealing all this Bill merchandise and paintings and merchandising. And which, admittedly, I love those shots. That is a cool reveal, because they set up earlier that there's all these curtains, and he's like, Dipper, don't look under that curtain.
Fake out doesn't really seem to make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't. And you know what?
Yeah.
Not just that it doesn't make sense, but that what got to me specifically is because, there was almost a full year hiatus between season 1 and 2. We know this. We had time to pour over everything. And in Bill's first proper appearance, Dreamscapers, when they are on the page about Bill Cipher in Journal 3, there is a passage that initially is written like, Bill is the most trustworthy guy I have ever met. Not evil in any way. I can totally trust him. What a guy. And then that is crossed out in red and written like, no, don't trust him. Bill is a monster. And what gets me about it is like, the reveal is like, oh, no. Bill and I are not currently working together, but we used to, we used to collaborate. And I'm like, if you've been paying attention, you already knew that. You already put that together based on what is in the journal.
Ella, most people are watching this in one sitting on Disney+.
Now they are. At the time they were writing this episode, nobody was. What's a Disney Plus,
Ella,
Charlie?
I promise you this is going to sound insane. There were people who watched the episode on the air date and did not rewatch them. Every time, all 40 times.
But they have such a keen awareness, the whole Tad Strange debacle, for instance. We're
talking about the online fandom. This is something written for people who just didn't remember if they watched that episode or not.
You're right, and I guess maybe that's what gets me, that it is only aimed at that audience, and it doesn't work for anyone outside of that audience.
Nope.
I will say, as a person who is kind of garbage sometimes at following clues.
I don't believe that.
Well, it is a little bit of a thing I do on purpose sometimes, where I'm just like, I just want to turn off my brain and go for the ride. So sometimes I try not to look too hard for things. So but I'm of two minds of this, because on one hand it's like that was pretty obvious, but also I wasn't paying that close of attention, to be quite honest. On my first watch through, I was like, oh, okay, interesting, but I kind of already knew that. But on the other hand, it's like,
you could have put it together.
Yeah, but I guess but even with that, where I wasn't really like looking to try to put it together, it's still like not the most satisfying reveal.
No, because it's not really executed like Charlie was saying. It is very like, oh, now suddenly his glasses are doing a weird thing and he's talking different to make you, it's like a bait and switch, and
it would have been so easy, and like this show is so clever about this sort of stuff. It would have been so easy if it had been like, oh, there was accidentally a light shining on his face that got knocked in the scuffle, or like when Dipper did a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would have taken like 6 seconds to put in that justification.
I got a bit. Hey, Ford, why aren't your glasses transparent all the time? Huh. Dipper, I'm not about that life. 5 words. Astro Boy and Speed Racer.
Maybe just make it so that the machine has when you're wearing it, it covers your eyes or something.
Or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. It could have done.
His glasses are just opaque now.
Deal with it. It is one of the moments that telegraphs this was written in 2 days, which is, again, the fact that this is only in this scene and a few others and not all over the episode, really impressive.
Like you also have to understand the issue with people with CinemaSin's dings of pointing out plot holes is
That's not what I'm doing.
no, but
Charlie.
I'm telling the audience that just because something in a story doesn't make sense, that's fine.
I agree.
What is often considered the best film of all time?
I don't know. I have bad taste.
Citizen Kane, and Citizen Kane. In the first scene of Citizen Kane, someone dies in a room alone and no one hears them say their last words. The rest of the entire film is about why were those his last words in a room alone?
That's true. That's true.
And yes, I agree. The emotional impact of something is more important than if it makes sense. However, I believe that the emotional impact of this does not work because it doesn't make sense.
Yes. What happened here was that there is a very surgical point A, point C needed, and Alex, given 2 days, wrote the first point B that came to mind and then handed it in.
Yes, that's true. And also, so that's the first big tentpole reason why this doesn't work for me. The second is the memory gun of it all, is that Dipper threatens to blast Ford, who he thinks maybe is being possessed by Bill, even though he's talking how he's never talked before. Why not, they couldn't have set up Ford calling Dipper kid, etc.
I just thought it would be cool. I don't know. I've never called you that. I've never had a great nephew before. What do you think it would be cool if I was like, "Hey, kid, come with me"? I don't know. It's just trying something out.
They didn't know that they were going to write this episode. They could have done that. They probably would have done that if they knew that they were going to have a scene like this. But with the memory gun, Dipper basically we see earlier in the episode that Ford has hooked it up and is investigating with it or something, but he doesn't comment on it. We just see it, and then Dipper grabs it off the desk and goes,
"Get one step closer and I'll shoot! I'll erase you right out of Ford's head!"
And when I'm watching for the first time, I'm like, how? That doesn't... What? That is not what how our understanding of how the memory gun works is that it erases memories of things. If Bill's possessing someone and you blast them, I don't know if that's gonna do it. How do you know that's gonna do anything, Dipper? And
because Ford said it would afterwards.
No, that's not how establishing things works, Charlie. You have to say that things happen before they do this.
Okay. So now you're saying I need bits of information that are required to understand the rest of the story up front?
Correct. So
agree to disagree.
Well, you're not experiencing time in the same way that I am right now, Charlie. I won't go into why.
Never have, Ella.
Yeah.
See,
that's true.
This is where my suspension of disbelief is maybe too good, because I was just like, yeah, I could see how Dipper would come to that conclusion.
I think I am old woman yelling at cloud right now.
Okay.
I think you're fine.
Fair.
I think I'm the one. This is my crotchety moment for this episode.
I respect that.
I don't get it. I don't just have a throwaway line about I theoretically you could erase them with the memory gun, but I don't really know how that would work.
Yeah, that sounds so what you do that Neil Gaiman says the point of a rewrite is to pretend you knew what you were doing all along.
Exactly. And that was not a thing on this episode. That didn't happen.
It is frustrating that a lot of these things, it's like there was a very simple solution to resolve it.
Yeah, to a lot of these little, at least for my sake. I don't know if other people would have been satisfied, but I would have.
And Alex probably would have. It probably drives him nuts, but at a certain point, you just have to clock out of work and get your paycheck.
You're right, and I appreciate that. It's as if, suddenly, Chekhov, blasts his shotgun and then goes, by the way,
there was a
this
gun.
was hanging on the wall. Yeah.
By the way, by the way, this was up on the wall. My dad gave it to me. I don't know if you knew. I don't know. Did I forget to tell?
I didn't mention
it.
I didn't mention it earlier, but yeah, this was on the wall earlier.
Reverse Chekhov's gun.
Just off. It was on the wall. We accidentally hung it off just out of audience view.
Of course, it doesn't work anyway because Stanford has a metal plate installed in his head, and Zipper reads that as a joke. But no, he has an actual
Pete reference.
Plate in his head. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, Pete and Pete was a Nickelodeon show. The mom.
I know
what
Pete and Pete is.
Okay. The mom has a metal plate in her head that comes up so often that it is one of the characters established in the theme song. So it's like, Mom's plate.
Good J.K. Simmons pull.
Yes, that's true. He did play the barber in one episode.
Wait, what?
J.K. Simmons was a Broadway actor up until 1995, and so was in a lot of. A lot of stuff shot in New Jersey, New York, pre him having any fame at all.
Now, having said all of this nasty stuff about this otherwise really well executed scene, because the tension is good, even though, like, it requires you to completely remove it from its context, or it requires me to do that. But with this podcast, realizing how many fan theories there were that Ford actually had some kind of sinister plan, it does make me appreciate the scene a little bit more, because, you know, Alex in the commentary is talking about, like, obviously Ford, well, we didn't want Ford to be evil, but I think it's a solid tease toward, like, that kind of, like, oh, this is a new character and I don't trust them, and maybe they are. And yet, even those theories were, like, they didn't think he was necessarily working with Bill, but that, you know, he had his own machinations. Yeah. Which, you know.
I mean, he clearly does, though, right? Like, he did, and he does.
Yes, he does. Yeah. But they end this episode with, like, okay, no more secrets between us. But what Ford means is no more secrets between me and Dipper. He still is keeping the interdimensional rift a secret from the rest of the family, and, yeah, that's probably not great. But at some point, you just gotta clock out of work and clock into the Hall of Conspiracies, am I right?
There it is.
Oh, yes. So you've edited the Hall of Conspiracies before.
Yes.
So you've witnessed firsthand accounts from the Hall of Conspiracies, but you've never been there, have you?
I haven't. It's true.
Are you excited?
I am hyped. First time.
I can hear it in your voice. Ella, are you hyped?
I'm hyped.
Ladies and gentlemen, right this way to the Hall of Conspiracy.
So here we are in the Hall of Conspiracies. Liz,
oh, it's
why don't
beautiful.
Why don't you read this little?
Well, wait, hold on. She was complimenting us. Don't make her stop. What do you like about the decor, employee?
Wow, okay. I didn't realize we were big like this. But you know, it's got these like the lush carpets are really nice. I'm enjoying the drapes.
So the carpets are actually made from conspiracy sourced fibers.
Oh,
yeah.
Very sustainable.
We're very organic here.
Sustainable.
Very
I love it.
concerned.
I also is that an espresso machine over there?
That's actually, we call it the podcast machine. Probably don't touch it.
Okay.
Yeah. I've lost a couple fingers.
Yes, I am well acquainted with podcast machines. Say no
On
more.
the bright side, I'm closer to being a cartoon character now.
There you go.
Oh, I actually added Ella's fingers to my hand, so now I'm closer to being Stanford Philbrick Rhines.
Yeah, this is still a cartoon character, so
yeah.
Oh.
Just wrong number of digits.
So Liz, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? When Dipper's going through the Cypher file, Ford's file on Bill Cypher, they're much like Irrational Treasure. Alex stayed up all night writing blink and you'll miss it passages on a document for a kid's cartoon.
When he did it in Irrational Treasure, yeah, he wrote writing jokes for children's cartoons is more important than sleep is on the triplet cover-up. There's also on both that and the ones he did for Mabel's Guide to Stickers. There's so many typos. He never proofread these.
Alex Hirsch and I have that in common, so I respect it.
In that case, would you like to read this first piece of information about pyramids?
I would love nothing more than that. Pyramids, also known as square cones, are found all around the globe and have deeply mysterious origins. Engineers marvel at their seemingly impossible construction, but many don't realize that they are actually just the skeleton remnants of an ancient race of large triangular dinosaurs who had very blocky bones. The Cycloptostonosaurus was a feared predator and roamed the plains of northern Africa, where it subsisted on a diet of warthogs and meerkats, made tender by their carefree lives and trouble-free philosophies. The reign of the pyramid continued well into the 18th century, where a young George Washington once saw one on summer vacation and swore that he would found a nation with the sole purpose of putting an image of it on the back of dollar bills. Pyramids today are mainly tourist attractions and settings for conspiracy movies, like that one where the guy had to steal the Declaration of Independence. You know, the one, Conspiracy Hank Goes Overboard. If you ever get a skateboard, go to Egypt and try riding down a pyramid. I hear it's really encouraged.
I love that he uses these as
90s
opportunities to
movies,
just
yeah.
mention movies
You got the
he's
Air
watched.
Bud one from the Dipper Shorts and now the Lion King.
No, there's a reference to Hakuna Matata
I'm sure
for
it's still
seemingly
rattling
no
around in his
reason.
brain, as it was for any kid around that time.
Yeah, he was born in 85, so when Lion King came out, he was 7. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was. When did Lion King come out? Is that as old? Is that old?
I believe it was 92.
That doesn't feel right. I was born in 89, but maybe I'm wrong.
You could have seen it when you were 3. You could have gotten it on VHS pretty early and still been 3. It might be 94. It might be 94.
It was 94.
That's on me. That's on me. So he would have been 9 when Lion King
That's the
came
right
out.
age for it.
There is another page in that file titled Alliance Contractus? Alliance Contractus? Contractus, I said.
Contractus, I know is correct. I don't speak a whole lot of Latin.
Yeah, I don't know anyone
I feel
else
the
who
language
really
is kind of
speaks it
dead to me.
regularly. It contains the following account of an encounter with Bill Cipher.
There was once a wise Roman philosopher who spent his days under the great emperor Julius Junius Maius Marcius. He advised the king in all matters of philosophy and knowledge, and soon taught him the value of flossing. Turns out, it's really, 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 really important. Start doing it. It'll change your life. He was considered by many to be the smartest Roman that ever lived. However, this philosopher was not content with simply being the smartest Roman. Nay, he desired to be the smartest human ever. He requested that the Roman army, while conquering, bring back all books and scrolls instead of feeding them to dolphins as was the custom at the time. Soon the philosopher's library was filled with more knowledge than any ordinary man could consume in his lifetime. But the philosopher was not satisfied. He needed more. He swore to the heavens that he would find it.
One night, while sleeping, he was visited by a specter. This character, geometrically perfect in form, introduced himself as Bilius Cypherus and told the man he could bring him the knowledge he sought with just one catch. The philosopher was intrigued.
Whatever you need, I will grant, if it's within my power.
Bilius explained he would need to enter the philosopher's mind. You know, to hold the door open. For the knowledge. All that sweet, sweet knowledge. The philosopher saw no problem with that and let Bilius Cypherus into his mind. What followed horrified him. Bilius took possession of his form and used it to deceive the emperor into making a lot of really bad decisions, like giving cats the right to vote and having his army wage war on itself in a game he called Stab the Guy to Your Left. Only one person survived. They also recalled all gladiatorial combat at the Colosseum and replaced it with curling, which, as we all know, is the world's worst sport. Soon the empire collapsed, and it was all the philosopher's fault. By the time he got his body back, he had been branded a traitor and was sentenced to death. Which would have happened, except Bilius came through on his end of the bargain and filled the philosopher's head with knowledge. It was really cool for like 30 seconds, but then it became overwhelming, and resulted in what the Romans call explodus domicus, which, as you can guess, is fatal. Moral of the story, whatever they offer you, don't feed the plants.
Yeah, there's so many stories about why you shouldn't make Faustian bargains. I know no one who has done so. I'm wondering who all these PSAs are for.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine any story about a Faustian bargain really appealing to me that much. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like my thing.
You know, I don't like ink. Wasn't that the line?
Yeah, I hate ink. It gets everywhere. It's coarse and rough.
It's not. That's bad ink. Go get better ink.
I don't like ink, Winslow. It's coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere.
It's not. That is not a descriptor of the texture of ink. Okay, so on the subreddit, Just a Guess 12 points out, so in Ford's mind, we see the childhood swing set. Clearly, Stan's not the only one who regrets how things went down. And, friend of the show at this point,
basically,
Magnus V points out the Stan of War is also there. Now, Just a Guest 12 has not been here 12 times and is in fact just a guest. However, Ella.
Yeah? What's up?
Should we? Does it count?
I mean, why not, right?
Magnus V is not here. Magnus V.
If you are listening, which you probably
Send this
are.
to our email, mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com. I state your name, do solemnly swear to uphold the duties of a Mystery Shack Look-Back docent to preserve the mystery and something the history
You know what? We'll
of
just
the original
we'll email
Grand-
blast it to
Yeah.
you. Don't worry about it.
All right, yeah. Just reach out to us. We'll get you a form
Y'all are
letter.
getting docents back here now. That rules.
Yeah.
Look at you expanding.
Look at us.
We've been had docents.
Yeah.
You gotta catch
Oh,
up
you've
with
had
the
to.
pod.
Okay.
So-
okay.
Also on the subreddit, Laser Attack 4242. That's 2 meanings of life.
No, incorrect. That is the answer to the question to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, okay. But what's the question?
Twice.
Oh, we forgot to ask what the question was.
We forgot to ask what the question was!
Damn it. So, Laser Attack 4242 says, I think from Bill's wording, it says Earth will learn how to party. It'd be hilarious that his entire master plan was that he had to host a party and needed a venue.
From Killiku on the subreddit, I think we discovered that in the grand scheme of things, Bill is probably a weaker demon, a sort of messenger/doorman from the Nightmare Realm or whatever the name was. If that's so, the other demons are probably unbeatable.
And we did see him in front of a rip in reality with a lot of scary looking demon silhouettes.
There were
so-
a lot of scary.
He is the doorman. He is also he has to hold open the door
Yeah.
for the knowledge to come
that's
in.
true,
For all that
yeah.
sweet, sweet knowledge. Yeah.
That's what he calls it. Knowledge.
And he's got those little arms.
Another post on the subreddit by Sureshine posted this in the other thread. I'll just have to trust you on that. But I think we could safely assume that Ford is represented by the hand/journal on the cipher wheel. Bill called him Sixer, and he usually refers to characters by their symbol, calling Dipper Pine Tree, Mabel Shooting Star, etc.
Hey, there's some Latin.
Yeah.
Hey!
I thought nobody's speaking that anymore.
Well, we found the person.
Yeah.
Sureshine.
This is a theory that I could not find the source for. I remember seeing a post about it, but it's not really theory, it's more of an observation that we see the first meeting between Stanford and Bill in this episode in flashback, and he's real small in that. He's a very little kind of fairy, just kind of fluttering over to him, like, "Hey, I'm Bill, I'm a muse," he's barely the size of Ford's head as he appears in that scene, and then chronologically, midway through this in Dreamscapers, when he appears to Gideon, he is about the size of Gideon. And then when he appears at the beginning of this episode in Ford's dream, which is chronologically the latest point, he gets real big. He gets way bigger than Ford. And granted, Bill does not tangibly exist. His size can technically be whatever he wants, but it was kind of an interesting idea of he is amassing more power, and now he's
Don't worry. As a millennial, I know the answer to this one. Someone left him in some water overnight.
he's like an expanding dinosaur toy.
I mean, he is a dinosaur. We just learned
And
about them. The
he's older
pyramids.
than the dinosaurs. He's older than the
But
galaxy.
the pyramids resemble him, and the pyramids are dinosaurs.
Oh, that's true. Yes, you're right. So yes, he is an organized labor has been referred to as a lumbering dinosaur.
When
cryptograms.
Wait, okay, so this one's first.
Yes.
It's technically a cryptogram
It
by an
is.
extreme technicality. Something is encoded in this episode, so this is the section that we talk about it. Celestabellebethabelle is hanging out with a pan, which is playing its pan flute.
A satyr.
Yeah.
A satyr. Okay, a satyr.
No,
Okay,
I already had
sorry.
the Seder. That was last weekend.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
earlier in April, much like April Fools. So Grenda chloroforms the satyr with the pan flute under the chloroform, and the seeing that this is about to happen, this is so silly that this is in cryptograms.
That this is a sentence that you have to say.
The satyr starts playing a series of long symbols and short symbols on repetition into the pan flute. This is a code known as Morse code, invented by Samuel Morse for when you needed to communicate internationally before there were telephones. This was the only way to do it. And the letters, they correlate to letters in the Greek,
dits and dots.
in the Greek alphabet, of course.
Yeah.
Which are S, O, and S, which is actually an initialism for save our ship, and was often used in the Navy as a distress signal, such as through smoke signals or a lighthouse.
Yeah, and it's a very easy one to do. It's dit 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 da 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 dit dit dit, being S, O, and S respectively.
How did I do it explaining that?
Excessive.
Mostly,
So,
yeah.
just the way I like
Mostly,
it.
I was like, do kids these days not know what a telegram is?
They
Like,
might not.
I
don't
have
know.
no
was
idea,
like-
Liz. I don't know any children.
Is it weird that I know all of that already? I was having a out of body experience.
I just thought it was hilarious that Ella put this in cryptograms and not in trivia.
fair.
I mean,
fair.
it's a little of both.
It's a little of both.
When Dipper is looking at the cipher file, there's Alex or someone in the commentary referred to it as a reverse Mad Magazine fold-in, because he unfolds an image of a skull and it expands into seeing the dreamscape and the nightmare realm. And under that, there's a cryptogram in the author's substitution cipher that reads black and white, which is because whenever someone enters the mindscape, it is generally black and white, going into Stan's mind.
White and black! I'll mix it up a little!
Mix it up a little today! In Ford's flashback, he talks about how he stumbled upon some writing in a cave, and this is again in the author's substitution cipher.
It started with bad dreams, which became nightmares. I was foolish. I wanted answers. I painted the symbols. I said the words. When gravity falls and the earth becomes sky, fear the beast with just one eye. That was all in caps, so I hope that was communicated.
This cryptogram is partly visible in the episode, but only on the full background art image made by Ian Worrell can you see the full cryptogram. And of course, that last segment is what Fiddleford said in Tale of Two Stands after he got sucked into the portal. Had a bit of a bad trip there.
So, using the Visionaire cipher, using the key Schmendrick, the name of the wizard from The Last Unicorn, which is found next to a key symbol on a stump when Wendy, Candy, and Grenda enter the Gnome's Tavern. Nasties.
Nasties, of course.
It reads...
Ganasties.
Ganasties. Ganasties! 'Cause I'm a gnome! No, that's not what it reads. It reads, a simple man with eager ears may trust the whispers that he hears. Which seems to be hinting at who will be possessed next.
Yeah, because this is right underneath the end tag in which Bill is talking about his next pawn. And so this sparked a ton of speculation. Clouded15 on the subreddit said, looks like the next person to be possessed will be more simple. Seuss?
However, Sureshine, who we met briefly earlier, says instead, yeah! That's not the whole comment, though. We censored that, so that would be weird. If we picked to read that on this podcast. It continues. I'm thinking it's Seuss or Bud Gleeful. Seuss seems the more obvious choice and foreshadowed in Stanchurian candidate.
Did get possessed.
But Bud is arguably simple, and we know Gideon wouldn't hesitate to use him as a pawn. Maybe he can't make a deal with Bill from inside the jail?
A deleted user, maybe they rest in peace, responded, I'm guessing it's the reporter. He's simple. He's got eager ears.
Purple Gravity.
What
says,
if it was purple?
Wow. I am thinking it's Toby as well. He's a journalist, so he really want news and gossip?
He does have eager ears, but if only
I've
he had
noticed
a
that
real,
about
if
him.
only he had a real microphone.
When we met his voice actor, Greg Turkington, we said, your ears are so eager today.
Why, thank you. Hey, if you let me use you as a pawn, I could get you an actual microphone. Wow! Goodbye, turkey baster.
A girl? One particular girl?
How about that, Chandra?
And he's still like, a real microphone. And he's like, oh, I sold, okay. Wow.
I didn't realize it'd be that easy to say. Okay. The end card combination cipher translates to, in Cypher's game, he needs a pawn. Be sure to know which side you're on.
So, Liz, which side are you on?
I am on...
You're hesitating.
Ooh, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing,
but
the
I love
power,
that film.
Power, right? The power.
And also, Bill apparently has microphones.
That's
which
true.
For your field of work is very
they
important.
are important. Honestly, also too, my brain is shifting into LARP mode, and that's something that my character at my game would be like, I'm listening. Go on. Like, I'm gonna hear you out, so I'll hear him out.
For all that knowledge, all that
Yeah.
sweet
I'll
knowledge.
at least hear the pitch and make a decision.
That story about the philosopher is definitely the most monkey's paw that we've seen Bill. Where it's like, you'll get what you want, but not in the way that you think you will get it.
That is the way it is making deals with demons, so.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes they blow up your head. Sometimes they steal your music and send you to Sing Sing, and then have all your teeth ripped out and replaced with metal, and then your face gets all f***ed up. And then you get a cask of Amontillado. You get bricked into a recording studio. It happens.
These things
It happens to all of us.
Exactly.
But speaking of things that happen to people, if people were happening upon you, where might that be? That was the worst segue of all time. I deserve an award, I think.
Fine. Hey, look, you got us there, and that's what matters.
It's about the destination. It's not about the journey. The journey.
Listen, I had a point A, I had a point C. I went with the first point B to come to mind.
Thank you, Last Mabelcorn.
You got us there. It's keeping in.
So yes,
in theme.
Liz, it has been so lovely having you on this podcast. You have been a delightful editor and also a delightful guest.
I hope both of those things are true, and I am happy to hear that.
They are true. I just said them.
Promise at least two of those things are true.
There were only two things that I said, though. That's the beauty of it.
You know I can't count, Ella.
That's okay.
Yes, this has been delightful. Thank you so much.
And if people want to find more of your stuff, where would they go?
Yeah, best place to find me is on the tweet machine.
Is that related to the podcast machine?
It doesn't eat your fingers, it just eats your brain is the problem.
Yes!
Yeah.
Just puts worms in there.
Yeah, basically. My handle on Twitter is the loveliest Liz, which is probably clear given all the riffs that have happened this episode. But yeah, get at me on Twitter at the loveliest Liz. That's the best way to stay up to date on the stuff I'm doing. I have websites. It's elizabethnordenholt.com and podcataudio.com. They're also linked on my Twitter. So just go to my Twitter, follow me. We'll be friends. It's cool.
You're on a website?
I'm on a website. Isn't that wild?
You're not going to believe this. Ella and I...
We're on a website, too. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, my God.
Because if you want to find more episodes of this podcast, you can go to our host network website, pipedreampodcast.com, where you can find other shows like Escape from Walt Disney, How Did This Not Get Made, and Come On, Fahuguapods.
There you can find a link to our show's social medias, Discord server, and our Patreon already.
Come on, I'm Frank Lisa here. Patreon.com/Mystery Shack. You give us $3, you'll get a shout out at the end of episodes. $5 will get you into a viewing party for the episode every week. Join us tonight if you listen in on the release date of the episode for the last freaking Mabelcorn. And $40 will get you voice commissions from Charley or an art commission from me, Frank Lisa.
Now, my question is, Ella, if someone commissions you to draw like a dolphin, what color would it be?
Not gray. That's for damn sure. You can check out our merch store at crowdmade.com/collections/
You are required to.
You are legally required.
It's not a should situation.
You listening to this legally binds you to.
Sorry, but it's easy to remember. It's crowdmade.com/collections/mystery shack look back. Thank you to Brian for voicing Stan in the Hall of Conspiracies intro. Thank you to Rob Renzetti for voicing Stan in the Patreon shoutouts. This podcast is getting more Stans by the day. I love it.
Yeah, like we said that last week.
I gotta work on my Stan impression now. Get on.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear where you are. Can you say?
It's not good. It's
can
bad.
you say contact us at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com.
In your absolute best Grunkle Stan.
Oh, this is gonna be awful.
Go for it.
Contact us at Mr. Shack at Gmail. What was it? I don't even know.
Mr. Shack lookback@gmail.com.
That was uncanny.
You're very kind to lie to me like that.
You know what it is though? It's too close. You can never use that again. It's too scary.
Okay. You're very kind.
It felt like Alex was alive and with us today.
No, so that email was mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com. Please contribute to our time capsule. The Hall of Conspiracies intro is Lentil Dentist. and that is by Simon the Dimbold V2-0. It's a really good song. The link's in the description. However, our theme song is written by Ella, but the instrumental there was by Priam Brian.
That's right. And Adam, thank you for hooking our tongues and lips up to your machine and just encrypting our spit so that they don't show up in the podcast. That was real helpful of you. So yes, Liz not only was a fantastic guest, but also was the fantastic editor of this episode. Podcataudio.com. You are legally required to go there as well.
It's true.
And now I'm gonna play us out with the song that I wrote. Probably in 2 days. Probably less than 2 days. I'm not really sure. My memories get a little hallucination-y. Take me back to the place I know with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started. My heart's in Gravity Falls.
Hey, YouTube Ford.
Hello, Table Read Stan. Care to explain what you're doing in my lab?
Well, I charged a bunch of people a lot of money just to say their names. Suckers. Anyway, there's a lot of them, and I don't feel like, reading them all myself. You want to do something?
I have many moral objections to this, but you've tempted me with an organized list. Thank you, too. Daddy Driftwood.
And Daddy Buttons.
Friendly Local Geek.
Fun Boringness.
Hugh Salinas.
Juno Series, I guess it's pronounced.
Liz Clark.
David, oh boy, okay. Gansel?
You got it, yes, Gansel.
Aren't you Mr. Fancy?
I was voted Mr. Fancy 5 years running.
Don't remind me, I remember.
Richard Scanland.
Jamie Belts. I want to belt a couple of shots of whiskey after this list. Go ahead.
Ryan Faber.
Stephen Patrick Mulholland. Oh, Mulholland Drive. Very interesting. All right.
It's a good film. Gwen Prime.
Junior Bruh.
Joseph Jones.
Olive Pluto.
Oliver. There's an R there, Stan.
Oh, Oliver Pluto. I'm sorry. I was distracted by the object that's no longer a planet at the end.
Kuiper object. That's the term.
Whatever for. That was your thing, not mine. Oliver Pluto.
Petey Piranha Plant.
Elizabeth Neuenfeld.
Mumpletine D. Wumpletine.
Oh boy, these kids these days. Vanillin Sucker.
Zucker, not sucker.
Whatever. He's a sucker. He might be a Zucker, but he's also a sucker. Vanillin Zucker.
Ro Davis.
Adam with 2 A's, a D, and an M.
Delphine Dussy.
May? Just May.
Jessie Marie McDougal.
B. Calisoda.
Rich Rawl.
Easy Snake Oven.
Samantha Angley. And Spencer Neil Campbell. Stan, what are all these patrons paying for anyway?
Oh, just the essentials. This brown meat doesn't buy itself.
Nor does Fully Clothed Women magazine, evidently.
Hey, keep your hands off that. Help me stock up for the apocalypse at patreon.com/mysteryshack.